Well, this invites quite the discourse last week. It will always be unattractive for a grown man to play video games. Well, unattractive to you for sure, unattractive to plenty of women, definitely. Not to all women though. There are plenty of women who are also gamers as well, and they too would like their men to be gamers too. And there are plenty of gamer men to go around, so don't worry about that, ladies. It is extremely unattractive to women and will never not be. Considering the many women quote tweeting and replying to you otherwise, you are not speaking the truth there. I'm not saying this to attack men, by the way. I'm just speaking objectively here. Except you're not speaking objectively. This is a subjective assessment. And yes, you are saying all this to attack men. Specifically, gamer men. Anyone who says that their subjective opinion is objective or a fact does not want their opinion challenged and just wants you to agree with them. In other words, they are chickens.
You're just a little chicken.
Cheep, 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 cheep. It makes perfect sense from a biblical perspective why gaming would not be attractive to females. Biblical perspective. You're bringing the Bible to validate your opinion. Just give up already. You have officially lost any sense of rationality. Sorry, but gaming is always gonna be a juvenile, unmasculine, lame hobby or activity. That is your opinion, and you are entitled to have that, but that doesn't make it a reality for everyone else. All it says to me is that you have no problem wasting your life. Because life is all just work and responsibility, right? How dare people have fun, right? Are you a teenager or a man? Nice appeal to masculinity there. If you're a gamer, you're just not a man at all. Thankfully, most women and men, for that matter, who judge people based on their hobbies tend to be the most miserable bunch who cannot have fun in their life. That is a fact, not an opinion. And if you disagree with me, then you're an idiot. That's how it works, right? This person said that male gamers are unattractive, which is a subjective opinion, and that's perfectly fine to have. I get why some women might find male gamers or gaming in general unattractive, but it's not the opinion that I don't get. It's this desperate need for their opinion to be validated. Your opinion is not objective. It is subjective. If you keep insisting that it is objective, you're basically saying, I don't want people to disagree with me. La la la. Anyone who says otherwise is an idiot. There isn't anything attractive about a man playing video games. This is a basic fact. If you have to insist that this opinion is fact, you're desperate for validation and you don't want people to challenge it. In other words, you're a chicken. Cheep, 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 cheep. It's not a deal breaker for most women. That doesn't mean it's attractive. The fact that it isn't a deal breaker to most women should be a clear indication that what you're saying is not a fact. Men used to go off war. Now they play video games. Oh wow, look at how masculine you are going to war and fight people, right? The thing that you need to know about wars is that the best way to win is to never be in one to begin with, because you will lose more in a war than when you begin. That lesson is quite literally from Sun Tzu's The Art of War, the big book of war itself. I'll just leave with a quote from the coach, from the gentleman.
Kids stab, girls shoot, boys punch, grown-ups fight with their heads. That's where the real battle is. Up here, in the grave.
Speaking of male and female gamers, man, I am exposed to genuine dumbasses online who just so happen to not like women. The reason why Call of Duty fell off. Apparently, the reason why Call of Duty fell off is because there are lots of female developers in them. That's why Black Ops 7 sucks, right? No. Have you guys actually seen Black Ops 7 or watched any review of the game? I said seen or watch review because if you played this game, my biggest condolences. The game sucked. But even so, the game has way more issues than the developers being women. Oh, but back in my day, it's the men that developed the real game for men, right? Modern Warfare 2? All-time classic. Men are the real gamers and developers, not those filthy women. They should go back to the kitchen, right? Here's the problem. This picture right here is a celebration of women's game development, not the whole team. That's why you don't see the men there. Here's the actual Black Ops 7 team picture, and I agree. If you're gonna be a sexist, at least get your facts straight. But bigotry will always prevail over facts and logic, which is ironic because these are the very same people that advocate for facts and logic, except when it goes against the narrative. Facts don't care about your feelings, right? And even with a mostly men game development team, no disrespect to the developers, I'm sure you guys worked as hard as you could, but Black Ops 7 is easily the worst entry in the franchise, and it sucked big monkey ball sacks. If your priority of criticizing a video game is that women worked on them, you're not a gamer. You're just sexist. I'd rather you vent your frustration on women somewhere else, rather than blaming them on things they have nothing to do with. That's what a lot of women do to you guys, but I guess it's only fair to do it to them, right? Unfortunately, women are the most frequent victims of these misogynistic doofuses. Some of them even go so far as to do criminal activities on them. Here's the problem. People say all this nonsense as if this is true. If media depicts non-consensual acts as good, it'll create more sex criminals. No. Sex criminals have existed since the inception of our humanity. They are influenced by their desire to dominate real people, not fictional characters in media. Stop blaming fiction on why people commit horrendous acts. Those people will use fiction as an excuse to escape accountability. And here you are perpetuating it. Do you know what monkey see, monkey do is?
You what?
When you romanticize something bad, you've effectively tried to make it look not so bad. In fiction, not in real life, you monkey.
What are you, a moron?
If you keep thinking it's nothing bad, you'd eventually start doing it in real life, which you probably might, not gonna lie. Well, I'm glad that you're being honest about your deranged monkey brain, you damn dirty ape. If you think what's good in fiction is also good in real life, then no wonder why you're comparing people to monkeys, because you yourself are. What do you think drives people to commit sexual crimes? Power? Lust, desire for control and dominance over others, harmful gender norms and stereotypes, backward cultures, history of abuse, substance abuse, cognitive distortions, the opportunity was there. There are many reasons why people commit sexual crimes. If your answer is fiction, I got Cenk here to deliver some bad news for you.
That's not reality. That's not the reality that I live in. You're not living in reality. You're totally detached from reality.
A good chunk of the time, they wouldn't be influenced to if they hadn't seen that kind of material. I think you should stop making excuses to these sexual criminals and blame fiction for it. Seriously, this comic is accurate, and I can't believe people completely missed the point and kept blaming fiction for doing absolutely nothing wrong. I mean, God forbid that I like Arabian Nights Risei, right? How the hell can Atlas get away with this official art? Seriously. Talk about making excuses to censor fiction. Being anti-young anime girls is not the same as being pro-censorship. It is being anti-predator. Wow, you are against criminals. Stunning and brave. Being against criminals that harm children is a default position that any normal human being have, and that can be done without the needs of advocating for censorship of fictional characters. What do you think should happen to people who draw children in sexual positions? They're not children, they are fictional characters that are not real. Nothing should happen to them because they have harmed no one. There's absolutely no reason to be drawing children in any sexual positions unless you are a child predator. Well, by that logic, there's absolutely no reason to be drawing them killing each other unless you're a child abuser. You have no moral high ground defending vile and disgusting art. That implies that you have the moral high ground. You don't. You think you do, but you really don't. There's adult hentai all over the freaking internet! Oh, you didn't know that most hentai feature high schoolers, and most high schoolers are not adults. You're gonna censor hentai now, aren't you? Predators obviously deserve censorship! Actually, if you silence them, then people wouldn't know that they're predators. Thankfully, they only need to speak once. Assuming that you're talking about real predators and not people that like fictional characters, I think intentionally choosing to pursue one involving portrayal of children is vile. Again, They're not children. They are fictional characters. They are not real. If you're going to be against something, at least be honest to what they are. It's ironic how the people who are advocating for media literacy quite literally lacks them. The fact that Gooseworks has been writing Jax a terrible person just tells me all I need to know about her character and what she stands for. Okay, so for context, Gooseworks is the writer and director for The Amazing Digital Circus, and Jax is a character in that show. I watched the pilot on YouTube. It's pretty good, but I don't know why you have issues with Jax in particular. He is a self-centered abusive jerk, yes, but that's not unusual in fiction. How is Jax reflective of the writer and director? If you write a character with such evil and malice, chances are you have that same amount of energy in your own personal character. That's right, guys. If we write evil characters, that means we are evil too.
There's something wrong with your brain.
Are we not allowed to write asshole characters? Do you people not realize that this show is not meant to be a kid-friendly one? I love the reply on the bottom. Did you get a lobotomy before writing this post? I genuinely want to know, what is wrong with you? Let's get back to gaming once more, and what a franchise that we go back to because we got some seriously lobotomized take. I absolutely love Leon Must Die Forever, the minigame that Resident Evil Requiem added in their newest update. I gotta hand it to you, Capcom. This is definitely one way to spice up Resident Evil Requiem and extend it with more content. A roguelike with Leon. I mean, sure, why not? Since we're talking about Resident Evil, let's talk about the tourists who are way too defensive about not playing the older games. Nobody cares that you think you're operating on some elevated plane because you happen to grow alongside the original games. No, I don't think I am better than you for having played the original games. My first Resident Evil is Survivor, but I barely remembered anything about it. I do remember Original 4 a lot. That's my childhood game, and I've played the rest of the series ever since. I am no better than you for having played the originals. I am, however, better than you for not taking this too seriously. The original games are old, and I totally understand why newer players don't want to touch them. Even so, I do recommend giving them a try at least. Spare just 1 hour and see if they work for you or not. You're just a weird little niche gatekeeper who's actively being left behind by the gaming industry. Wow, I love how you say all this confidently as if that's a good thing. Even if I understand why people don't want to play older games, this attitude is garbage. Remember the games, don't forget them. And for the retro gamers out there, please, don't force, don't shame, encourage. The very idea that newer fans should be expected to play games from 1998 and 2001 to call themselves fans is asinine at best. Nope. It's not asinine at all. If you're a fan of Resident Evil, even if you haven't played the original games, the least you can do is to respect their existence, not forgetting them in favor of the newer ones. If you're a fan of Resident Evil thanks to the newer games, that is perfectly fine. If you don't want to play the originals because they're too janky for you, I get it. But do not disrespect the original games. If the original doesn't exist, then your favorite game that turned you into a fan wouldn't exist either. The fact that there are many Resident Evil fans excusing the fact that they haven't even tried just 1 minute of the original games is sickening to me. You don't have to finish them, but at least try them. And that's all for the video today. Here's a cat. Huge thanks to all the wonderful sponsors this week. You're all fantastic. Don't forget to check out my previous videos here. Click the like button, comment, subscribe, join the YouTube membership, leave some tips, just $1 down below. And thanks for watching.